Hi, I am Kit Cassingham, founder of and chief I'm going to try this again. A little flustered because I couldn't figure out remember how to do this from all the way yesterday, but I am Kit Cassingham, founder of and chief energizing officer at Live in Focused Energy. I am doing this at least 30-day series daily streaming for you to talk about how I'm going to get my life back together, get my mojo going. Got a little too much chaos going in my life, and it's time to pull it all back together. Yesterday I talked about how the lack of structure had kind of undone me, that I'd grown up with structure, and then I met my husband and the structure went out the window. And we've had a lot of fun. But before I remind you of some of those details, I do want to point out that your life is like a lab. It's an experiment. And you are the mad scientist. And I want you to experiment and play and really test the things that I'm talking about. See what works for you, what modifications make it better. Don't dismiss these ideas. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. And you wouldn't be watching me if everything were perfect in a bed of roses. So I invite you to put on your mad scientist hat and have lots of fun experimenting with the ideas that I'm going to play with and talk about over the course of the next month or more. So anyway, life with Randy has been lots of fun. We have traveled. We've gone from Maine to Southern California and Florida to Washington. We've been to coast in Canada. We have been to Europe and to Asia, the Caribbean. We've done lots of fun things. We just had these wonderful adventures. Going to the Pluto mission launch was fabulous. I mean, to be able to see a launch of any kind is pretty extraordinary. But to see them shoot this little tiny rocket in the big scheme of things off to Pluto was just enthralling. And to be sharing it with David Levy of the Levy-Shoemaker comet that plummeted into, oh, I never remember the planet. Randy will be embarrassed that I said that, but he'll get over it. But to hear him talk about his experiences with space and celestial bodies just added to the excitement of the whole event. We have gone to Disneyland in our formal attire and ridden the rides. And at night, during the holidays, you get a special treatment when you're dressed up to the nine. Unless you're with a honeymooning couple, and they get even better treatment. And that's good. It should be. So through the years, we've had all these fun times. But little bit at a time, I started feeling like things weren't quite right. That I was making some bad decisions. And that was what was disturbing to me. I became like that frog you hear about that is enjoying this nice warm bath, maybe basking in the sun. And as the heat gets turned up, he's not aware of it. Till it's too late for him to jump out of that hot water and save himself. That's kind of what it was like, that I started softening my boundaries and allowing my better judgment to be swayed and not standing up for what I wanted and what I needed. And I started getting sloppy with my presentations at the bed and breakfast conferences, not making time for them. I mentioned yesterday that I was a serialpreneur. When it was all bed and breakfast and real estate related, that worked really well. But then I started dabbling in other things because my bad decisions were starting to impact my income. And so I was doing other things to increase my income. Well, the bottom line is, I got distracted. Bottom line is that the other businesses distracted me from my main focus. Randy's writing to me. Let's see. Oh. Well, I'm not sure what he's saying, but that's okay. The bed and breakfast consulting and coaching was my business, and the other things that I was doing distracted me. So rather than staying on mark, I got distracted, and so my income, I started making some good money with those things, but that also dissolved and went away. And so then I found myself being, I'm bored with bed and breakfast, keeping consulting, coaching, so I'm going to do something else. And set out to figure what that was going to be. Fortunately, Jeff Walker and Product Launch Formula came into my life, and I started pulling it together, and I had this sense of what I was going to do. And then he introduced me to Brendan Burchard, who introduced me to high performance living and to coaching, and I was really getting it together, but the bad decisions kind of kept happening, and it was just disconcerting. And the dawning came to me that I wasn't on stable ground. I told you yesterday that I had been in this vortex, and the vortex was sucking me in, and the circle was going tighter and tighter and coming down, it's going faster and faster, and I didn't like that. The ground wasn't solid. It felt like the rug kept getting pulled out from under me, and there's this lurching about that you do, and I still wasn't quite settled. I didn't quite know what I wanted to do, and I started realizing that maybe it's because I don't have structure. Maybe if I got back to going to bed at a regular time and getting up at a regular time, maybe that would help. Maybe eating my meals at the same time. Brendan teaches how to block your time, and I thought, well, that could work for me. And I would do that for a while, and then I'd fall away again. I would maybe go on a trip, and my habits and patterns would go away. And that just has been undermining me. My coach helped me get my structure back for a while, and then my mom died, and just all these things happened, and they're all for the good. I'm taking full responsibility for me being the one to make the bad decisions and allow myself to get off track. I know how wonderful my life can be when I'm structured, doing the things I want, still having lots of fun, still traveling, and I take walks with my cats. I mean, do you take a walk with your cat? People take walks with dogs, but cats? Yeah, I do. And I'd like to do it more regularly. And I want to eat more healthfully on a regular routine. And I want to exercise. And I don't mean lots of hard out cardio or running or walking. I am a walker, and I love to walk. Being outside every day walking is so good for me. But movement, taking a break every hour, that is so important. The movement is good for your muscles and there's a woman who has a class called Move Your DNA, but she's on the same track with me. She knows a lot more about the physiology of that than I do. But if you get your muscles moving, that gets your blood moving, and that puts oxygen into your heart, into your brain, which are your workhorses, and those keep your thinking and your focus strong. And I'm good at hydrating. I'm so good at hydrating that when you drink a lot, you have to let it out. And when we travel, the people we're traveling with know just to trust me, because my radar goes up, and it scouts around, finds a bathroom, and off I go. And people follow me because they probably need to go to the bathroom too. Maybe that's TMI, but that's okay. This is part of life and part of getting back, getting your mojo back. And you're going to learn through me, or at least watch me. Who knows what you'll learn, but you'll watch and have fun. So, as I've realized that I've got a phone call, I'll decline that. As I've realized how unsettled I am with the lack of structure, that I decided I'll commit to you and to myself. I'm going to coach myself back into a focused life, back into structure and routine. So my morning routine is when I get up, I give thanks to three things. I have a routine of just thanking my universe for letting me have a wonderful night of sleep and for having a chance to be a better me today. And then I have other things too. And I brush my teeth, I do some morning stretches, I feed the cats, I meditate. And then I start my day. Oh, forgot. And then I ride my bicycle while I watch 30 minutes of some movie or something to get the bicycling, that part of exercise done. And I still want to then get back to taking hourly breaks and walking. We've got such beautiful country to walk through. And so doing that, I'm supposed to do it according to the walking gods, come rain or shine or wind, but I'm a fair weather walker. So I have a routine of walking through the house or the garage or something, so I get the steps in, get the movement in. I'm just missing the fresh air and the sunshine, or the rain or the snow or the wind, whatever's going on. And eating more vegetables. I told you that I was going to do that yesterday. So I want to get back to having boundaries that let me say, no, this isn't right for me, or this is spot on. Do you know how hard it is to say no? That's what partly gets us into trouble with our priorities and our goals, is we're like kids in a candy store and we want to say yes to everything. We want to help people. We want to do things. But if we are not following our goals, then all we're doing is deluding ourselves, and we may be having fun, but we're not accomplishing the things we want. One of my friends is saying she's not a goal person, and I'll maintain that we all live with goals to a certain extent. Even if your goal is to get up in the morning, it's a good goal. But with the bad decisions I made, I did lose touch with my bed and breakfast clients and the whole bed and breakfast world. So I am starting off fresh with getting in touch with them. If I decide to go back into the hospitality industry, there's a part of me that says, no, I am a certified high-performance coach, and that's what I'm going to do. But first, I'm going to coach myself back. I'm going to get my calendar tighter. I'm going to block my time so that there is reading time for growth. There is writing time for articles. There's vlogging time so we can be in touch. There's education time, going to webinars and classes. There will be walking time or some kind of movement time. Even doing chores around the house counts as movement. You know, get up and change the things in the laundry, or go cook something up real quick. That all counts. Petting the cats is a good thing to do in my 10-minute break every 50 minutes. But one of the things I didn't like, and now I'm being more vulnerable with you than I'm comfortable doing, but I'm going to do it anyway. In my losing my structure, something started changing with me. And I found myself being rude and snarky to people. My 10th anniversary, Randy and I were at a meeting at a conference, and it was not a good time for us to be exchanging gifts or cards but we did it in public. I guess I was mad at him, and I was really rude to him. I reminded him of that painful evening just the other day, and we kind of laughed about it and agreed, we're not going to do that anymore. But when I'm not structured, when I'm not feeling grounded and feeling my mojo, that's one of my reactions. And you don't want that. I don't want that. And maybe if you find yourself being a little less than kind, less than generous, maybe that's an indication it's time to get back into some structure, into some routine. So I apologize to my friends and associates who witnessed that rudeness. Hopefully you'll forgive me and maybe not think so ill of me. It was a slow dawning that things weren't quite right, that it was time to get it back together. And I'll talk more about that slow dawning tomorrow. I'm not quite sure how long I've been talking now. I guess it won't matter. And we'll talk about some of the things I've realized that were huge eye-openers. So I know how to coach myself back into structure to set my priorities and my goals. So if I have a year-long goal, I can work it backwards so that I know what I want and need to do every day and every week and month and quarter. So by the end of the year, I've accomplished what I want. And to keep my life more simple, I'm going to keep it to 3 goals. So one of my goals this year is to walk the Camino de Santiago. I'm walking it with my friend Kay, and we are giving ourselves 6 weeks to get to Europe and back. And it's a short 800-kilometer walk. It's a pilgrimage, and we're doing the one from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port in the French Pyrenees across the northern edge of Spain to the city of Santiago. And we're going to walk it in about a month, 32 to 35 days, and then we'll do some other things before we come home. But that means I have to get ready. And I've slowly been accumulating my gear. I've been walking. I've been getting into shape. And now that it's beautiful weather again, I have fewer excuses to not get out and walk. And my walking friends are coming out of their caves as well. So you'll see me posting things about the short 6-mile walk. Did I say that 800 kilometers, by the way, is 500 miles-ish? So I want to work up to that. We need to walk 13 to 20 miles a day, depending on the day. And I don't want blisters, so I'm going to be prepared for that by getting my clothes, my gear into shape, my feet into shape, my body into shape. And that means eating well. And another goal is to really get my coaching business launched and productive, active. And I'll let you know what the third goal is when I've decided on that one. So that's it for today. Tomorrow we will have another session. I will post, and I'll remember how to get back into Facebook Live streaming so that I won't be a little late. But I didn't forget you. I was working on it. And that is it for today. So I want to remind you that if your life isn't what you want, if you're feeling stressed, if you feel that your priorities get lost, confused, and there's chaos, if you've got piles of stuff across your desk and around your desk and on the floor on all the horizontal surfaces, maybe you need to be making some changes too. So join me on my adventure, the mad scientist learning to get her life back together, and you can get yours too. I am Kit Cassingham, founder of and Chief Energizing Officer at Live in Focused Energy. See you tomorrow.